they kind of lost track of everything else in life. And that was part of the thing that I wasn't happy about that thing. Like get a life. There's a whole life out there besides making a living and turning everybody onto Amway. Okay, so, and I've seen this over and over again, that people who are very interested in nutrition, know a lot about health, and then eventually get into raw food, get so excited about raw food that they forget about all the other basic tenets that they already learned, like whole food being the centerpiece of all other nutrition. It's the hub of the wheel of nutrition is whole food. And there's nothing whole about raw vegan protein powder. I mean, it was whole food at one point until it got refined. Well, at that point, we're just selling refined food. And I find it interesting. I want to relate this to one other thing. There's a phrase called empty calories. You know that phrase? What's empty calories mean to you, Jeanette?
Junk food, processed foods,
Okay,
empty
that's what that.
calories.
Okay, those are examples of empty calories. But if you were going
Okay.
to define empty calories,
A waste of digestion. Empty calories is there's no nutrition in there. Right.
they're
Yes.
calories stripped of their associated nutrients.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, it could be partially emptied calories or completely empty calories, but it's calories stripped of their associated nutrients.
Mm.
And how do empty calories, in terms of great nutrition, where would you stack empty calories from 0 to 10 on the list?
Zero.
Zero. Empty calories provide calories, but no nutrition. And of the 500,000 or 600,000 known nutrients, all of them are part and parcel of utilizing and assimilating those calories. It takes thousands of nutrients to properly use the calories that I consume. And you list empty calories pretty low on your list of nutrition.
Yes.
Okay. So that's like sugar and white flour, right? White sugar, white flour.
Yeah.
Those are empty calories.
Yeah. For sure.
And how about oil in a bottle?
Empty calories.
It's just calories. It's just
Yeah.
pure fat. In fact, it's so pure that they sometimes call it virgin, meaning there's nothing else. There's nothing else in it but fat. And then sometimes they even call it extra virgin. I don't know if they have any of those in Miami, but
No.
okay.
You'd be
So
hard to find one of those here.
it's hard to
Yeah.
find an extra virgin. So now we go on to protein powder. What's in a can of protein powder? Just protein.
Yeah.
It's a calorie source, protein. And what are the nutrients that are in there?
Protein. It's just protein.
That's a calorie source. What are the nutrients that accompany it? None. Does that count as empty calories?
I would say so.
So we've got raw vegans who they think they're knowing a whole lot about nutrition, and they're promoting the health building qualities of empty calories. Now flip the whole thing on its head. What would be the opposite of empty calories?
Fruit and vegetables.
Okay, full calories would be one way of
Yes,
saying
full calories.
okay, that would be the opposite. That's like fruits and vegetables. But there's a different opposite. What else could be empty? Nutrients.
Ah,
Wouldn't
ah,
wouldn't empty nutrients be nutrients without their associated nutrients?
mm, yeah.
Do you have any examples of nutrients without their associated nutrients?
Well, do you mean like the
I mean, like B12. Any isolated nutrient
isolated?
is a
Yes.
nutrient without its associated nutrients. They're
Right.
empty nutrients, and they're just as health destroying as empty calories.
Yeah.
In both cases, what we have is laboratory created foods. They call them foods, laboratory created substances that have an unlimited shelf life.
Wait, but it says it expires in a year.
Okay, of course, because they need you to buy more. Do you really think it expires? Like, how can it go? What could go bad? It
It
doesn't
already
go
went bad.
moldy. Yes, exactly.
What could go bad? It already went bad.
And so we
Hmm.
come full circle very quickly, which
Yes.
means you created a good line of questioning. Well done.
Yes, thank you. I need to watch this again. Now, listen, let's move on to vitamin D. This is thank you so much, Doug, for this. Vitamin D, especially D3, is another uh, empty nutrient that we are obsessed with as raw vegans, and we
Yeah.
have to get it. And if we don't live in the tropics, then we are, susceptible to being vitamin D3 deficient. So it's important that we take that. What are your thoughts on taking a vitamin D3 supplement as a raw
Okay.
vegan?
So vitamins fall into two large groups. There's the water soluble and the fat soluble.
Okay.
Water soluble, for the most part, is the majority of water soluble vitamins, whatever one we want to name. They're mostly B's and C's, or C related. They're mostly out of your system in a matter of hours. Hence, eating 2 or even 3 times a day is smart in the sense that you're replenishing, or I'm replenishing my B's and C's when I eat food.
Yes.
The A, D, E, and K, these are fat soluble vitamins, which means I store them, they dissolve into my fat, I store them in my fat, and I can hold on to them for a pretty good period of time. I can hold on to vitamin D for 3 months, easy. I can store up 3 months worth of vitamin D without any problem. 4 months if I'm pretty good at it. If I go in with a full tank, 4 months. But that's about the limit, at which point I'm starting to get into the beginnings of deficiency. There's not a lot of places that people live where they get zero sun for 4 straight months. Zero sun. I mean, basically, the only people that do that are prisoners who are bad that get thrown into the hole. They get throw him in the hole for 90 days, keep him in darkness for 90 days. He'll be good and weak by then. He'll be well malnourished. But even as winter starts raising its head here in England, I was outside in my garden today. It's the end of September. I had a shirt on, short sleeve shirt, but I still took plenty of sun. I spent most of the day picking up pears, actually. My pear tree went nuts this year. And so I'm picking up, I don't know what to do with all the
It
pears.
went pairs. It
It,
went
it, went,
pairs.
it went pears. And so I'm eating breakfast off the
Wow.
ground every day. I'm just picking up pears and eating them. It's astonishing. This tree has gone 12 years without making any pears. I didn't
Oh
have the
my
heart to
God.
cut it. And then this year it said, here we go.
This is my year.
It's making like,
Wow.
it's literally like this thick in pairs on the ground under the tree. It's like more pear. I can't pick them up as fast as they're falling. Most of them are bruised and damaged, but I'm still eating a full meal every every morning. I just go out and eat pears. One
12
bite.
years, no pears.
Oh, it made little ones that fell off. Yeah, but
Wow.
this year it's making like absolutely divine pears.
I love that.
Divine. Really
Wow.
good. I'm shocked. I wish I'd known 12 years that that's what I was waiting for.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, so it's a rare individual. In October, I'll be outside. And by December, maybe the sun is only a little bit of sun in the middle of the day for maybe an hour or something, and I can get a little bit, the sun's low and it's not very strong. But by March, I can already feel what do they call that? There's a factor of the sun's strength, right? And you can tell how many UV factor.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and already by March, it's up from 0, it's up to 1. And then certainly by the end of March, it's hitting 2s and 3s. There is some UV factor. Now, the interesting thing is the more people are avoiding the sun, the higher our skin cancer rates are becoming. I mean, skin cancer wasn't a common thing years ago when there was no sunscreen of any kind. Now, most of the sunscreens are highly carcinogenic to begin with. So we're lathering up with carcinogenic sunscreens and then avoiding the sun to boot. I'm the first to tell you that sunburn's harmful. Sunburn is really harmful. Any burn, radiation burn, sunburn, cooking, put your
Cooking
hand on a hot
food,
stove.
burning,
Yeah.
cooking food,
Yeah,
burn.
burning is harmful, no question. And I did my share of burning as a kid. I wasn't eating enough plants, and so the sun was really, I didn't have all the, I mean, how come the leaves on the trees don't burn? People are always amazed. I started eating more fruits and vegetables. I noticed I can handle the sun better than I used to. Well, yeah. I
Doug, I
said,
used to burn as a kid.
me
I
too.
used to burn, and I live in Miami now. I've never burned once.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. So the sun is super, super good. In fact, you can Google if you want, and or listeners can Google if they want, and oh, they're not. We're into the 21st century. Viewers can Google if they want,
Yes.
and just Google what types of skin cancer are helped by sun exposure, and it's like I don't know, all of them except for one, and that one is only brought about through sun burning.
Yes. Now, Brand, thank you, Brand, for being here. How long have you been raw? Because she says, I get this. This makes sense, but I burn like crazy if I don't put on sunscreen. And we're curious, how long have you been raw and avoiding processed foods and dead animal body parts? I'm
And
just
why you don't
curious.
just put a shirt on
And put a
or a
shirt on.
hat?
Yes, yes,
Just
yes.
use shade. Shade's the best sunscreen.
Yes, yes. Agreed.
But
Linen
how long?
clothes.
Oh, we'd love
Yeah.
to know how long.
Yeah. No, because
I,
I'm
I noticed
curious.
I noticed within a few years of being 100% raw, I could handle so much more sun. So much more sun.
Yes. I was very sensitive, very pale most of my life and very sensitive to the sun. And okay, thank you, Doug. That makes sense. I learned a lot. Fat
In
soluble. I
in
didn't
Feb
know.
in February in New Jersey as a kid,
Yes.
I was this color.
Yep, I believe you. Yep.
People would ask me if I was okay because I got so white in February. It was like, wow, you're really white. Are you okay? And and then I went raw and I just never get that color anymore. I just don't go white like that.
Yes, so Brant is eating whole food plant-based, but not raw and lots of binging. So do me a favor, keep going, keep getting
Yeah,
back
just
up,
keep open to it. It's a
keep
road. It's a
you got
journey.
this. Yes, it's a journey, like the pear tree. It's a journey. Look
Yeah,
at the pear tree. 12 years now, it's their year.
12 years.
Brant, this is your time. This is
It
your year.
shocked me.
You're here for a reason. You're listening to Doug for a reason. So now, Doug, please may I ask you, where do you get your iron from? Have you ever seen anybody on a raw vegan diet with an iron deficiency over the
Yes.
years? Okay.
Yeah. I've seen people with iron deficiency. Invariably, I'm trying to think if there's an exception. Yeah, there's got to be an exception.
Wait, they
Um,
went raw and they became iron deficient?
yeah, I've met raw vegans who went iron deficient. They
Okay.
were usually it was the beginning of the raw journey,
Okay.
which I'll explain in a minute. It's called the law of dual effect. Um, Usually it was early in their raw journey, but always they were absolutely pushing the limits of, how do I want to describe it? They're absolutely pushing the limits of a very specific kind of human performance that's called middle distance. So typically they were 800-meter runners.
Hmm.
And 800-meter runners are going for about 2.5 minutes. Guys are getting 2 minutes, but somewhere's in that 2 to 2.5 minute, depends on how old they are and whatnot, um, of all out sprint. Now, in the first minute, it's anaerobic. It doesn't really affect iron because it's anaerobic. But in the second minute, it's aerobic. And in that minute, and certainly as you get into the third minute, it becomes even more aerobic. And you're depending, the athlete is depending upon red blood cells delivering oxygen like there's no tomorrow. And the red blood cells, of course, are red because they carry iron in the red blood cells in the hemoglobin. And when you're using that stuff up as fast as you humanly can, it's possible to burn out with this commitment to training. Like, I've got to make it to the national team or whatever, or just super, super high levels of iron, of training, right? Like just pushing limits. And I'm sure, I know for a fact I'm curious, Jeanette, if you ever experienced the feeling of being Superwoman once you went raw.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean I can abuse myself just because I'm Superman. I still have to
Hmm.
take, I have to take care of myself as though I was mortal man, but my expectations can be that of Superman.
Yes.
My heart's intention is Superman, but I still have to take care of myself or my health will go away. And it can go
Yes.
away in a lot of different ways. So, um, two things more about iron. One, yes, I've seen people go iron deficient. Once they supplemented, I've never, ever seen them go iron deficient a second time. Okay, another reason a person can go iron deficient is if they're just bleeding continually or excessively. So, yes, there are some hormonal conditions. Women can have their period and it just never seems to stop. Or it's 3 weeks on and 1 week off. And that, I mean,
Hmm.
that's a lot of blood loss. And if you're losing that much blood, you're losing iron with it. And it's possible to go iron deficient if that problem isn't remedied. But I would say, that's a fairly rare thing to have happen. I mean, I think I could take 1,000 women and maybe not one of them is bleeding continually.
If you
It
do have,
happens.
yes, if you do have an iron deficiency or you are bleeding a lot, and is there a specific iron supplement you have recommended in the past and seen really good results with?
Supplements, iron supplements come in a couple different brands. There's some that are just straight iron. There's some that are iron with fiber, and there's some that are iron with a few other factors. The traditional problem with taking iron supplements is constipation. So something, whether you start eating prunes or take extra fiber or um, typically they'll come with something to make it a little less constipating. And any of those will work better, especially if it's a person who's prone to constipation at all. It's a problem I've never had, I don't think that would be a concern for me. But for people who have any tendencies towards constipation. So the last part of that, the law of dual effect I mentioned.
Yes.
And the law of dual effect is sort of like oversteering. A, a deer or a kid runs out into the street and you swerve really hard to get off out of the way of hitting the deer or hitting the child. But it was more reaction than was necessary. And so I keep my wits about me, and then I gradually bring the car back to where it's supposed to be. So the oversteering is called an acute reaction. It's very intense and short-lived. The bringing the car back onto the road is a chronic reaction. It's not as intense, but it takes longer. The body almost always works with the law of dual effect. In almost everything that happens, the body works with the law of dual effect. And so it's quite possible for a person to make a diet change and then experience hormonal shifts that are unwanted for a short period of time that then rectify themselves over the next few months. It's very possible for a person to shift their diet really quick and have digestive issues because the microbes that are responsible for digestion, and there's millions of them, they haven't adapted to the new diet yet. Or to change your exercise routine and get very sore for a little while, and then a couple weeks later, the same exercise no longer makes a person sore. Because the body adapts to the stresses and demands placed upon it. So the law of dual effect even plays out in pregnancy. It's a fairly common thing for moms to be. Seems like there should be a single word for that. We have pregnant women, which is redundant.
Expecting, I guess. Expecting moms.
Even that, like why?
Yeah,
Yeah, anyway,
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
for
Good point.
expecting, anyway, um, I digress. It's a fairly common thing for them to start supplementing like crazy rather than others improve their diet like crazy, but certainly many do both or just supplement like crazy. And they take a lot of vitamin C because vitamin C is really helpful, and they don't eat a lot of vitamin C. The average person eats 1/100th as much vitamin C as you or I eat. Curiously enough, when the great research done on vitamin C that was ever done, I mean, the most amazing stuff that was ever done on vitamin C came out with recommendations to eat 100 times as much vitamin C as the average person, which is exactly what you and I eat, about 100 times as much vitamin C as the average person, with a recommendation saying that when I eat 100 times as much vitamin C as everybody else, I'm basically bulletproof health-wise and I can't get sick. And I haven't been sick since 1980, which is a pretty good run. So when the babies are born, very often mom stops taking the supplements. But she was taking high levels of vitamin C, and then she stops. Now the law of dual effect kicks in. The baby has gotten used to throwing off massive amounts of vitamin C. Now the baby's getting almost none through mother's milk because mom's not eating any. And so the baby goes, oof, and nosedives vitamin C because it's a water-soluble vitamin. They're out very quickly. And what they develop are symptoms that are known as scorbutic. Do you know what that is?
Scorb Scorbic acid is the first thing I think of, but
Okay.
scorbutic? No, I've never heard of that.
Okay, they're related. And what scorbutic means is that you're demonstrating signs of a condition known as scurvy.
Ah,
Your connective tissue is losing integrity. Your teeth are falling out. Your gums are bleeding. Many other connective tissues stop developing, start degenerating. This is really bad in an infant to get scurvy. Really bad. But it's exceptionally short lived. It self corrects because it was a massive response followed by a correction response. The
yeah.
same as what happens with vitamin K in newborns and vitamin D in newborns. It tanks and then comes back to normal levels as the baby's own chemistry comes online.
Right.
So actually about a decade ago there was considered in the United States an epidemic of scurvy amongst newborns. And all it was because the moms were supplementing so much and then they stopped.
Wow.
Supplements, I mean, anybody thinks that they're smarter chemists than their own body has a fool for a client.
That, yeah, well, we're the only species supplementing. So, you know, we got a lot to unlearn and a lot to learn. We're the only species that do a lot of interesting things now. We had some questions, but I think that if you watch this from the beginning, all those questions will be answered because, people want to know your
Smart.
thoughts. No,
You've done
really.
this before.
Yes, because they asked about things like, well, we're going to talk about omegas now, but people asked about what do you think about drinking flaxseed oil like Dr. Brooke Goldner recommends. And I think if you watch from the beginning, you'll see what Doug thinks about flaxseed oil. But now let's talk about omegas, Doug. Where in the world, since you don't supplement, and when, by the way, have you ever supplemented? How long have you been raw, please?
I, I first started going raw in the late 70s.
Okay.
I didn't make it to 100% raw as a commitment until the mid 80s, like
Wow.
84. Um, and then it took me about 7 years, to be honest. It took me about 7 years of trying to figure it out. Like the commitment was there and I still couldn't do it. I didn't know what to do. So it really wasn't until the early 90s that I finally got to the point where I go all raw all the time, count on it. And I'm living that life. And I don't care what circum come up. I've
Yeah.
taken my stance and I
Yeah.
will I will hold true to my stance regardless of the circum. And I figured out what was required, which was eating fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and all the fruit I wanted before my dinner salad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what works.
It works.
That's what
If I'm short
works.
on fruit, if I'm short on fruit, I'm craving.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
driven, and it's just
Even
not.
though,
Doesn't
even
work.
though you've been doing this for so long, it's still about the basics of even Doug Graham is going to crave unhealthy
Right
food
away.
if he doesn't eat his species specific food.
Um,
Like if you don't, after a certain amount of time, there'll be a point, maybe days or months, where you will give in to unhealthy food, right? If you don't eat your species specific food.
that's an interesting way of saying it.
You've never had to do that, obviously, because why?
I
But
got
I'm
better and better
curious.
at supplying my
Yeah,
species-specific food and making sure I had that supply on hand. Um, but I meant it more in short term, even than that. I will also say I've doing it for a long time. Eating raw foods for a long period of time gives me the advantage of having a tremendous number of levels of compromise long before I ever even move away from raw food.
Mm.
But I'll notice right away if I cut down my calories on fruit that I'm going to start looking around for more nuts.
Mm.
And that already messes me up. It doesn't help me with my performance. It doesn't help me with my sleep. It doesn't help me in any way. So I think either, well, not just me. I think pretty much anybody would be tempted to binge within a day or two on foods that isn't their mainstay of diet, even if it's still 100% raw. Even if you just go, well, I just want a few almonds after dinner. You know what? Give me a handful. I'm just going to eat the bag of almonds. Give me the whole bag. And then when the whole bag is consumed, you go, I'm still looking for something. And I want dates. And really what you wanted was more fruit before dinner.
Every time.
That's really just what it was. Now,
S-
if all those raw options are not available, for whatever the reason, I can skip a meal or two here and there. I mean, I've done 30 days on just water, um,
Wow.
but within a, I mean, I'm training for world championships. I have a life to lead. I serve people from 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm seeing clients at 5. I'm seeing clients at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I go full on. And I would think if there was no raw food available, that I would very quickly be tempted to eat cooked food. Yes.
Yes, you're a
And I'm
human.
smart enough
Yeah.
to know that I'd rather live on cooked food than die on no food. I mean, after a month or two of no raw food and no any other kind of food, um, I'm not going to live. I don't know the limit of how long can I go before I die. I don't want to find out. So, but certainly within a few weeks of not eating food, if the only option was cooked food, um, yeah, I'd eat cooked food. But nobody's
Yeah.
holding that gun to my head.
Yeah,
It's essentially a
yeah.
gun to my head, is what it
Yeah.
would take.
Yeah,
And
me
nobody's
too.
home. Yeah.
Me too. And everyone's thinking that it's them. They don't have the willpower of Doug Graham or they no, you don't have the fruit of Doug Graham. You don't have the knowledge of how to do this as Doug Graham. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you.
And I'd say my willpower is among the lowest amount of willpower of anybody alive.
That's
What
crazy, but I believe you because yeah, I know people are going to be like that's not possible. He's been high raw 42 years, raw vegan 35 years. That's not possible.
I have tremendously high desire for reaching my goals.
Mm,
I'm goal oriented person. I'm the
mm-hmm.
ultimate goal oriented person. So this will take me to my goal. That's what I'll do. And it's not about willpower at all because I'm easily distractible. I don't have a lot of willpower. I never rely on willpower.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
much more rely on desired outcome.
Mm-hmm.
What's the outcome going to be? That's what I'll go after.
Yes,
And then I'm 100% in. I'm all in as long as I'm heading towards my goal. Take me away from my goal for even a moment, and I notice it. I notice it immediately. Oh, this isn't taking me where I want to go.
yes. And you have tremendous fruit power because you eat enough fruit that helps you to not crave processed foods. You taught me if you're craving processed foods, you're not eating enough fruit. If you're
Exactly correct.
craving salt, you're not eating enough greens. The end.
Exactly correct.
When you said that, I heard that 15 years ago. I said, oh, I can do this. Now I get it. Now I get it. This makes, okay, if that's all I have to do, then let me do this. But you got to get the good fruit. If it sucks, you see, if it sucks, you're going to eat processed foods. But we
Yeah.
move on.
If the
Doug,
fruit is empty,
yeah,
and this is one of the things where people struggle a little bit with the learning curve, right? Because they're eating fruit all summer that's super rich, wonderful local produce,
yeah,
and they think this is easy. and then it gets to be September and the fruit isn't quite as sweet, and October and the fruit isn't quite as sweet, and by November they're eating peaches that only look like peaches and they got nothing in them. There's two parts to that story, actually. So one of them is learning about the fruits of the seasons, which is something, actually, I'm doing a monthly article on fruits of the seasons for the Raw Vegan Society.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
putting that into their magazine. So I'm featuring, I got the next 48 all lined up, the next fruits of the season. So the next 4 years are covered, but I'm
Never
open
heard
to
of
more.
that, the Raw Vegan Society. I didn't
Raw
know we had
Vegan
a
Society.
society.
Yeah, we have a society.
I want to
Raw Vegan
join.
Society. Yes, of course.
I didn't know. Wait, do
Oh,
you run it? Wait, what is
no. Actually, my wife invented it and she's running it.
Raw Vegan Society? Okay,
Yeah.
I want in. Now, please, can we talk about, do you still have, how much time do you have, Doug?
I don't know. I have to look at my phone. I think I'm free until, I'm free another hour.
Thank you so much. Okay, can we please, I really appreciate this. It's just, I'm gonna get questions and I want to answer them before we get the questions, right? So
Okay.
omegas, we know, okay, people are obsessed with the omegas. Have you ever seen an omega-3 fatty acid deficiency on a raw food diet? And what would you do if you had one? Or where do
Well,
you
there's a
get
lot.
your omegas too?
Okay, there's a lot of ways to run a raw vegan diet, right? And
Yes.
some of them are more sustainable than others. So certainly, yes, I've seen people who ate in ways that they supplied insufficient omega-3. Yes, that's possible. Omega-3 comes primarily from vegetables. So if I'm not eating, or when I'm not eating 2 or 3% of my total calories from vegetables, there's a chance I could be getting low on omega-3. Omega-3 is also, when I talked about malnutrition, omega-3 is also linked with omega-6. They are not only we need enough, but they need to be in a ratio. Oddly, nobody knows what's the right ratio. Isn't that funny? Because they also don't know that we're supposed to live on fruits and vegetables, which give us the right ratio. Okay, so because nature didn't goof, nature didn't make mistakes. There's no mistakes. So, well, maybe the avocado pit's a little bit too big, but there's no mistakes, and um, so it's really not a deficiency of omega-3 as a general rule. It's an excess of omega-6. And
Mm,
anytime you see someone who has suffered from a blood clot, does that ever happen? Have you ever heard of somebody having a blood clot?
yes.
Yeah, like stroke is the result of
Yes.
a blood clot. That's too much omega-6
Mm.
relative to the amount of omega-3. So some people would say, eat more omega-3. I would say, eat less omega-6.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you only need single-digit fat consumption in the first place. Why would I want to add more fat? The
Hmm.
omegas are just fat. Let's be really clear. Omega-3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. It's just fat. They're just essential fatty acids. They're fat. So it might be
Wait,
a
there's
great
a
pickup.
12, 15, 18.
Oh, sure.
But why are we obsessed with omega-3 then? If there's a 15, 8, I never heard of 18.
Because 3 has to do with keeping your blood flowing, and
Ah.
6 has to do with allowing your blood to clot when it's supposed to. Like when you cut yourself, you're
Ah.
supposed to clot and then fibrin and then form a scab and the whole deal, right? But you need 6 for that to happen. But
Okay.
too much 6 compared to 3, and you end up with clots when you didn't want them. You end up
And,
with clots in your bloodstream, and that's always a problem. That's
and
always a
yes.
problem.
And omega-6 comes from where, Doug?
Well, omega-6 comes from all the animal fats, but
Animal.
you also tend to see more omega-6 in nuts and seeds. most nuts and seeds have more omega-6 than what I really would say is reasonable. And it doesn't mean I can't eat them, but having a few Brazil nuts is a whole nother thing from having a bag of walnuts.
Or Doug, did you know that there's bucket of cashews at Costco? I never knew. A fruity cutie yesterday told me that there's a bucket. I
A
didn't know we're
bucket.
eating from buckets now. We're
Well,
eating like
I
horses.
once
We're
I
eating from the
once watched
buckets.
I once watched a man eat 5 pounds of cashews at a sitting.
Was
I,
that Mango Wadzak or David Wolf or
no, it wasn't.
no.
It
Okay, just
wasn't.
checking.
And I
Woo!
watched him eat 5 pounds of. I mean,
Oh boy.
yeah, and he suffered the next day.
What a nightmare.
Yeah, and I'm sure he suffered for much of his life, even from that one infringement. But that, in nuts and seeds, we tend to see a disproportionate amount of 6 compared to 3. So I don't come out and say never eat nuts and seeds. I don't even begin to suggest such a thing. But just let's keep it in moderation. Keep your fat consumption down close to single digits.
Yes,
Certainly
yes, yes.
never beyond teens. And that's as a
Yes.
percentage or a ratio of total calories consumed. So if I
Mm-hmm.
consume 300 calories, I'm sorry, if I consume 3,000 calories, 300 from fat, that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
but 2,000 from fat is out of balance.
Yes, and constipation will ensue.
Yep.
Okay, now may I please ask you about this barley grass juice powder? You know, the Daily
Whole
Green
Foods.
Boost. People people are asking, they want to know, what does Doug think about barley grass juice powder? Because, and I know you've heard this many times,
Good marketing.
because the fruit is not as rich in vitamins, minerals, and nutrients as it used to be, and so we need to supplement to get our minerals. What are your thoughts on supplementing with a barley grass juice powder?
95% of all nutritional malnourishment is that of excess, not deficiency.
Yeah.
People spending way too much time and energy thinking they could have deficiency. It's a great marketing plan. Let's understand that fruit trees get their nutrients from deep down in the soil. It's got nothing to do with topsoil, or very little to do with topsoil. The roots go down and they
Mm-hmm.
pull nutrients up from the subsoil and even from the rock under the subsoil.
Mm-hmm.
So when they drop their fruit, when they drop their leaves, when they drop their branches, that breaks down and adds nutrients to the soil. Fruit trees build soil, and they build nutritious soil. Now, it's an interesting thing. Remember Amway? Like, people forget about all the other parts of life because all they can think about is Amway. Well, what happened to Whole Foods? Wasn't Whole Foods one of the very first things you ever learned about nutrition? Is Whole Foods are really good? How can we throw that away and take barley juice powder, barley grass juice powder? I mean, it's just nuts. We're going to remove the water. We're going to remove the fiber. In a lot of cases, remove the sugar so that those can all be sold individually. When I was a kid, nobody bought water. That's hard to
Right.
imagine, but nobody bought
Right.
water. Nobody sent email either. Um, and and the idea that a refined substance could be more nutritious than its whole counterpart. Like, there's a good reason why people don't eat barley grass.
Doug, I was just going to ask you, when is the last time you had grass? Why are we supplementing with something we never would eat?
This smacks of, okay. I have no idea where the idea originally came from. A lot of the ideas, I know where they started. They started with David Jubb, or they started with some other people way back when. Um, but this one, I actually don't even know where it started. It smacks of Bill Gates, but I don't really know. And I can't say that it's a Bill Gates thing, right? But telling me to eat grass, when that's not in my nature, eating grass. And my old saying is, if I was in a field of wheat or a field of barley, the size of Kansas, I would starve to death before I got out.
Uh,
If I was in a field of mangoes the size of Kansas, I would never leave. I'd be
yeah.
happy as a clam.
And then if somebody's watching from Kansas, I'm sorry, there's no mangoes there. That was just a
Sorry, no
metaphor.
mangoes growing in
We,
Kansas,
yes, don't
but
look, there are
that
none.
much space, I mean, I've driven through it, and it's not. There's no food growing. There's just starch, and starch is just wallpaper paste to me.
So sorry, Doug. Question. So you have been high raw for over 40 years. You've been
Oh
raw
yeah,
vegan. You've been raw vegan for 30 over 35 years. Are you telling me that you only eat fruit and vegetables and a small amount of nuts and seeds?
yeah. I do better with seeds than nuts, but
But you do
yeah,
not supplement at all.
fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds.
No supplementation.
No,
And you're alive, clearly. You're going to competitions.
yeah.
Okay, just to
My
clarify.
brain still works. My body still works. In fact, everything still works. Um, and I remember watching a TV show back uh, 25 years ago, a medical show I was watching. Um, and they had a panel of really specialized doctors up there. And one of them said, every man over 50 has prostate enlargement. And I'm going, I'm 72. I don't have prostate enlargement. Like, give me a break. This is nuts. Like
Yeah.
everybody's got all these diseases because they're eating absolute crap. They're living sedentary. They're waking up to alarm clocks because they're getting nowhere near enough sleep. How could you possibly expect health to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, health only happens through healthful living. It's the
Mm,
only way. And there are no, by the way, there is zero ability to body hack or biohack. That is a total, that's like multitask. You can't multitask. No human being can multitask. All one can do is be as aware of what's going on right now, right here. Or if I'm doing two things at once, then I'm half aware of each. All I can do is
mm,
lower my awareness. I can't multitask. That
mm.
doesn't happen. Ah, well,
So I ask you that because I'm going to make a reel of that, you know. I ask you these questions because I
great.
know the answers, but you know,
I
I
know
want to
you know.
make, I'm going to make content out of this
I
interview.
know you know.
So I know that you know, that I know that you know. But okay, Doug, last question. And then anybody has any questions that we didn't answer about any supplements, any other supplements, let us know and Doug will answer them. The last supplement, and you talked about calcium. Oh, no, no. Okay, you talked about calcium. We know you get your calcium from, of course, greens, fruit and vegetables.
Fruits and
Yes,
vegetables have plenty
that's
of
it.
calcium.
Plenty of calcium, guys. So we're not going to go too much
The
into
question
calcium.
is the question is never about getting calcium. The question is about losing calcium.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
It's
Okay.
never about getting calcium. There's plenty of calcium everywhere.
Because malnutrition is the excess. It's excess is causing malnutrition.
There's 10 known, easily easy to look up lifestyle factors that result in loss of calcium. Which one of them is eating beans, by the way.
Whoa.
OU vegans, one of them is eating beans causes calcium deficiency. Um, there's 10 known factors. One of them is recreational drugs. Other than the recreational drugs part, all American children participate in the other 9, with very few exceptions. They participate in the other 9. And what this tells me is there's no way humanly possible for a 20 or 30-year-old person to have developed their full potential of bone density, which means that what we call normal bone density, that of a 30-year-old woman, is actually very much compromised bone density. It's a very substandard, very low level. In fact, the scale goes something like from 50 down to -5. The bone density scale goes from somewhere
Mm-hmm.
around 50 to -5. And according to the medical doctors, normal is anywhere from 0 to -1.
Okay.
And I'm suggesting that what we call 0 to -1 is actually already much more compromised than what the doctors are saying, because the kids were participating in 9 of the 10 factors that result in bone density loss.
Can you tell us some of them, please?
Oh, yeah. Um, Animal products, uh, recreational drugs, prescription drugs, colas of all kinds are among the worst, beans, starchy food. Um, Usually I'll separate out dairy as its own unique distinction category because it's, again, one of the worst. Do I have all the others off the top of my head? Well, there's 3 symptoms for Alzheimer's. I know that. Um, there's memory loss, and I can't remember the other ones. Anyway, that's like
Okay.
6 or 7 out of the 10. They're just common stuff that people do. Uh,
Yes.
oh, any confections that have dairy in them. Again, it's really dairy, but that's how they're listed. They're broken down, isolated that way. Um, and then the refined stuff like sugars, refined sugar.
Yes.
Uh,
Wow. Wow. Okay. Can
so
I please ask you about, so people are asking questions. All right. So
that's good.
iodine. Iodine is another one. Where
Mm-hmm.
do you, and I don't believe you eat too many sea vegetables, although you did tell me once that when you see vegetables, you eat them. Now I love that one. Okay, so listen, do you eat seaweed? Where do you get your iodine?
When was the last time you were on the beach?
This morning.
How good did the seaweed look?
It smells, it looks gross, it's slimy. I avoid it at all cost.
And if you pick it up in your hands, it will irritate your skin.
Oh,
The people who
yes.
work with sea vegetables wear gloves up to their shoulders because it's such a strong irritant. The chemistry is so powerfully irritating.
Oh,
No, I don't eat sea vegetables. Uh, but I have said, like, if I went to somebody's house and they went to all the trouble of making a spectacular raw salad for me and there were some sea vegetables in it, I'm not going to make a big deal.
yeah,
It's not
same.
like it's not like they smoked cigarettes at the kitchen table and I have to sit there through that. That I won't sit through.
Yeah,
But
same.
I do draw a line. But if somebody makes me something, it's got sea vegetable in it. I'm not gonna. Isn't that just such a nice word, sea vegetable? It sounds like it's just more vegetables, doesn't it? Sea vegetables
It
aren't
sounds like a
vegetables.
vegetable.
Yeah, but
Yes.
sea vegetables aren't vegetables.
Why do we
And
call them vegetables, Doug?
because they kind of look sort of like vegetables, and nobody knows the word protista, and so they call them vegetables. And
Ridiculous.
algae sounds really bad unless he's a DJ or something. Um, or maybe if he played third base for the Mets, algae.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Al G.
yeah,
Um,
so
or wait, I'm thinking of
but
Kenny G. Okay.
so no, I don't. I don't, as a general rule. Okay, this is a lecture that I'm actually putting together. This is a great question because it's ties into a lecture. I'll give you a little piece of it. Um, People in the raw food movement, as a general rule, people in the vegan movement, as a general rule, people even in the vegetarian movement, as a general rule, tend to know more about nutrition than most people, than the general population. And they tend to be a little more health aware than the general population.
Yes.
And so they've heard a bunch of things. As you referred to earlier, what about this or whatever that? And some doctor says this and another doctor says that, and what about and what about? So my first answer is A, follow somebody. And if that somebody is getting you where you want to go, great. Keep following until you're ready to start leading.
Ooh, I love that.
And whether that somebody is me, or whether that somebody is Jeanette, or whether that
I
somebody is Tim
love
Trader,
that.
or whether that somebody is somebody else, follow somebody who's already been there, done that, and can get you to where you're leading on your own. If you don't like where they're taking you, you're not getting the results you're looking for, follow somebody else. But anytime anybody tries following 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 people at one time, you're going to get split apart. It's a recipe for instantaneous failure, confusion, and frustration. So following even 2 people is a waste of time, in my
Yes, so
opinion.
it's me or Doug, guys. It's me or Doug. You've got to choose right now.
Yeah,
Unsubscribe from one of us because no, 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 no. No,
not
but
unsubscribe, but just straight out follow. And
either
then it's okay.
way, we're
Yeah,
doing the same thing, guys. Just a heads
yeah,
up. I'm eating
absolutely. We're in
because
alignment. No, we're
people keep
totally aligned.
asking people keep asking what is Doug eating a day? He told you so many times. Fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, fruit before dinner, and a big salad. Now, sometimes he probably has fruit for dinner too, right, Doug? I'm
Yes.
sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Me too. Same format. There's not, it's 80-10-10, guys. I'm doing 80-10-10. That's what's working. That's what has always worked. And that's what's going to keep working if you want to be raw or high raw too, because you can do 80-10-10 high raw too. No problem. Okay. Let me ask you, Doug, because we do have to wrap up.
So it was a good question, algae.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sea
And
vegetables, which are not even vegetables.
then they're not even vegetables. And they're highly irritating to human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a sea otter, you can eat sea vegetables. Um,
Oh, we are so
but the
dumb.
but the
Uh,
question was about something else entirely, which I'll tell you in a minute, okay? So all these people, the vegetarians, vegans, raw food vegans, 80-10-10 raw vegans, on through the list. We tend, as a general rule, to know more about health and nutrition than most people.
yes.
The problem is that we take some of that knowledge into realms and theaters where it no longer applies. So, Jeanette eats fruits and vegetables, super happy, super vibrant, super switched on, and still wondering about omega 3s. Because we learned about this somewhere that omega 3s matter, right? Well, yeah, they matter to people who are living on animals, but it has no bearing on a vegan diet, and certainly none on a raw vegan diet, because the ratio has already been figured out for us. All I have to do is eat food. I don't have to figure. Have I done the math personally? Because I'm a health professional. Yes, I'm a doctor. I've done the math, and I know that I don't have to worry about the math. So I can tell you, you don't have to worry about the math, and you don't have to do the math because I've already done the math. And I could let go of that concern. And then somebody says, well, where do I get my iodine? And I go, how come you're worried about iodine? Well, because such and such says I need to take iodine. Well, yeah, he's selling you iodine. That's fine. But why is he even getting into that arena? And the reason is that 150 years ago, when people in Michigan got all their food from their own farm or from their neighbor's farm on property, the entire state of Michigan, there's no iodine in the soil.
Hmm.
It's one of 3 places on earth where there's no iodine in the soil. So 150 years ago, when there were no trucks and there were no ships and there was no food coming in from all over the world, and you lived on some big old farm in the middle of Michigan and all the food came off of Michigan, even if it was cows, they're eating grass from Michigan, there's no iodine. And so you develop goiter and you develop thyroid problems. And it's called the goiter belt of the United States, Michigan, I think even into the edge of Wisconsin and some of the other states that are right there. That's called the goiter belt. But that doesn't exist anymore because now food comes from everywhere. But the worry is still there. That's left over from 150 years old concerns. It's no longer a concern in the 21st century. There's nobody in Michigan getting all their food from their farm in Michigan.
We just met in Michigan. We were just at a raw vegan
Were you
retreat.
worried? And we even intentionally ate food from Michigan. But for a
This is
week,
so
it really wasn't
dumb.
a worry.
Yeah, this is so silly what we're
So
doing.
so it turns out that there are loads of things like that, like intermittent fasting. Why do people promote intermittent fasting? Oh, because it's a way of helping manage my overweight problem. It's got nothing to do with raw foodists. Raw foodists' problem is they can't keep weight on until they figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and after I do cardio, I'm not going to eat because you do cardio to kill my appetite, which it does. Cardio crushes appetite pretty effectively. For a while, that's the way the hormones work. It allows this flight or fight syndrome to you're gonna fly. Well, then the hormones will support that. So you're not hungry.
Mm.
Fine. Why? Oh, because it helps me with my overweight problem. Well, that's not a solution to a health problem. And nor does it allow me to recover well if I don't eat after cardio. So it's not a health practice to wait a couple extra hours. There's so many things like this where there's this inherent health knowledge that absolutely does not apply on a raw food diet.
Yeah.
Letting go of that, oh, that takes some doing to let go. For people to let go of their old knowledge, you experience, certainly I experienced a but, what about,
Yep. Yep.
but, it's like,
But it's
oh
also the
my,
fear too. Letting go of the fear of what if I didn't supplement for 20 years and now I'm, because Tim Trader's telling me I gotta supplement or I'll end up like him. What if I make a mistake and I listen to Doug and Jeanette or whatever and
I'm
I
not telling anybody not to supplement. I'm saying don't supplement in advance of having a problem.
no, but that's what they're saying. What if I don't supplement in advance and I
Yeah.
ruin my health?
How can that happen?
Well,
That can't happen.
that's what happened with Tim, people are
No, that's
saying.
not what happened with Tim. He didn't just suddenly one day wake up with a B12 deficiency that was irreversible symptoms. He suffered with symptoms for years and years and let them accumulate for years and years. It takes a long, long time of being B12 deficient to get anywhere near irreversible problems. I can't tell you exactly. There hasn't been that much study for me to state a fact, but I would say at least 5 to 7 years of deficiency symptoms before anybody's going to have something irreversible.
And what are the symptoms? So brain fog, confusion, balance issues. What else are symptoms?
All neurological. They're all
Neurological.
neurological. So you might have hallucinations, which could be as simple as I'm looking at you right now and I might see purple in between you and me, like aurora borealis. You can see through it. But irritable like crazy, impatience like nobody's business, and all neurological things: balance, coordination, short-term visual memory, kinesthetic awareness, proprioception. All these things start to get compromised. Phantom tastes, phantom sounds, phantom visions. These are all called hallucinations as a general rule, but
So
all of
you
that
like taste something that you're not eating.
isn't there. Yeah.
Whoa.
Tingling in the fingers and toes. What's it called? Truncal rigidity. Um, the, there's you tip your head down and get a flash of lightning. There's a name for that when you tip your head down and you get a flash of lightning run up your
Basically,
spine.
what you're saying is you would know there's something wrong.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And yes, okay. So
For
everyone,
years. You would know for years before it was irreversible.
calm the fruit down. You will know, and you can reverse it with supplements because supplements are a band-aid and that's their job in your life.
Yeah.
That's why they exist for a band-aid. So everyone calm down because Doug, everyone is so afraid.
It's fear mongering.
It's fear-mongering. Yeah.
And it started, the weird thing about this one is it started from the meat eating group saying, but what about B12? But what about B12? Which
Yep.
was so weird, right? Because then the vegans look and there's no B12 in their food. But there's no B12 in the carnivore diet either.
Yeah.
But they got the vegans all scared.
Hmm. It's
They got
not a
them scared.
vegan deficiency. Right.
It's not a vegans don't own B12 deficiency.
Nope.
Plenty of people have done research on vegan diets coming to the conclusion that vegans don't own B12 deficiency.
Yeah.
As I
Yeah.
said, the first I don't know 10,000 cases of B12 deficiency were in non-vegans. The
Look at
first
look at
10,000
that.
documented cases,
Look at that.
non-vegans.
Look at that. See, that's why I'm doing these interviews. Thank you so much, Doug, because people need to know, they need to get educated and then make decisions based on that. They're just ruminating and listening to people that scaring them. People that sell B12, companies that
You know
sell
what
B12.
causes B12 deficiency most of all? Worry.
The B vitamins. You're right.
Worrying about B12 deficiency.
Tell them, Doug.
Oh
Tell
man.
them.
When I was a kid, there was a guy
Oh,
named Alfred E. Newman. Do you know who Alfred E. Newman is or
no.
was?
No, I do
Uh,
not.
okay, well, he was a fictional character, Alfred E. Newman.
Okay.
Um, and he only said one thing. What he said was, "What? Me worry?" And he was one of my heroes when I was a kid, Alfred E. Newman. And that's the only because he was a cartoon, right? And all he ever said, that was the only words he ever spoke was, "What? Me worry?"
Okay, so lightning round. I have three more things that people really
Okay,
want to know. Thank you
lightning round.
so much, Doug. You're amazing. One is apple cider vinegar. I know you don't consume it. Can you tell us why you don't consume it?
Okay. Vinegar is 19 parts water, 1 part acetic acid. Acetic acid is found in laboratories in a brown jug with the label poison on the bottom of the label. POISON in big red block letters. So I'm putting 1 part poison and 19 parts water, and somehow it went from poison to good for me. What happens when I consume this particular poison called acetic acid, which is an indigestible acid, not ascorbic acid like we find in fruit? That's a digestible acid. Acetic
Hmm.
acid is an indigestible acid, and the body actually manufactures its own acetic acid and throws it off as a waste product. So there's no way I'm consuming waste products. So we've already lightning round the urine therapy. Um,
That was a
but
question people asked. I wasn't gonna ask you, but thank you very much.
and I'll have to tell you a story another time. So with acetic acid, the cool thing is that when I consume acetic acid, the way my body reacts to it is by hardening of the liver. It turns the liver to stone. There's a name for that in medicine, but hardening of the liver, not a good thing. So
No,
I've had the good fortune of being in an apple orchard and picking apples. Have you ever done that?
no.
Okay, so I'm in an apple orchard picking apples, and I'm picking apples and bushels and bushels of apples, and then I grab one, and all it is skin, and inside it's a rotten apple. It's turned to apple cider vinegar. Do I eat that apple?
No.
No, absolutely not. Every sense of my body says icky poo. No, I'm not going to eat that. It's not a health practice.
We're
There's there's no
yeah.
way it's a health practice.
We're
It's so
doing
far
that.
away. It's the big lie.
We're doing that with a lot of things. Did you notice?
Oh,
Seaweed, the apple cider vinegar, we're not eating them. You would never eat a rotten apple, but we buy it in a jar that's a
you have a
fancy
pencil and
label.
paper there, or a pen and
Yes.
paper?
Yes,
Okay,
I do.
write down the first letter. False evidence appearing, I'm sorry, one more time. False learning identified and processed. FLIP. Yes.
Yes.
Scientific information delivered with empathy. Flip
Mm.
side.
Mm.
30 years ago, I did a presentation called Flip Side.
Mm.
All we did was just look at all this. What about this stuff? This is really good. This is a health practice. Isn't this a health practice? How about this? How about this? No, none of them are health practice. They're all, it's all just, it's like telling people to eat fluoride in their water like it's good for you, when the only commercial use for fluoride before human consumption was rat poison. Oh, no, it's just that we have mountains of fluoride because we're using aluminum like crazy. And in order to smelt aluminum, you end up with fluoride. You had to do something with it. Might as well sell it. That beats throwing it
Might
away.
as well sell it and hide it in the human body because it's the human body is so incredible that it won't die immediately from consuming it. Wow. Last question, Doug, because I could talk to you all day. Let's do another one soon. You're
Okay, let's
amazing.
do another one.
You're amazing. Now, last question that people really want to know, and thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much. Put a watermelon emoji down below if you enjoyed this and you want to see Doug, more from Doug. I know you did enjoy it. Now, listen, fermented foods. I know you don't eat fermented foods. Why don't you eat fermented foods?
I don't eat fermented foods. I much prefer fresh food rather than eating the microbes that already ate my food.
Ooh.
No. Um,
Ugh.
when moms are walking their babies down the street and the
I
baby
can't do
sees a
it.
dead animal on
Yeah.
the side of the road and the baby goes to go touch the dead animal, the mom says, no, don't touch that. It's dirty. It's bad for you. It's unhealthy. It's something bad. It's harmful. Self-destructive to go, don't touch that. And if they saw rotten cabbage or rotten tomato or rotten apple, they'd say the same thing to the baby. No, don't touch that. Don't pick that up. It's dirty. That's not good. Here, let me give you a fresh sweet grape. I'm not going to give you wine. No, no way. Whole. So my t-shirts, you remember my t-shirts, fresh, whole, ripe, raw, organic plants. It's just really simple. We just line up those. The more my diet moves towards whole, fresh, ripe, raw, organic plants, the healthier the direction I'm heading.
Laurel said, thank you, Doug. You make everything make sense. Thank
Oh,
you. Laurel says, I'm from Portland. I can't live without fermented food. Guess what? You can't live without your addiction to salt. You're not enjoying the fermented food. You're enjoying the salt, right? Tell me your fermented food is salt free and I'll be shocked.
we'll
It's
have
not.
another conversation.
Yes. Yes. Cause
Yeah,
I,
no, we'll have another
yeah,
conversation because it's so salty. Is it possible to ferment food without salt? Yes, it is sometimes
but they're
possible.
not doing it. They're
No,
not doing it.
no.
I saw Nate, Lissa, Lissa's husband, Nate, he did what he fermented watermelon without salt, but I think there was vinegar in there, right? Like I'm sure there was, that's another poison we learned today. We don't, but anyway, the point is you're addicted
Whole,
to
fresh,
salt.
ripe, raw. Salt is deadly poison. It takes 30 grams, just over an ounce of salt to kill the average human. Um, Deadly
Ooh.
poison. It takes 12 months to recover from the consumption of a small quantity of salt. 12 months just to recover hormonally.
Oh boy.
People tell me, oh, I only have salt like once a month. I'm going, yeah, well, it takes 12 months to recover.
See you next year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about salt next time too. Okay,
That'd be
guys.
fun. I know
Doug,
a
you
lot about salt.
I can't wait. Maybe we'll do a whole thing about salt
Uh,
because
I even got to have a conversation with the president of the Salt Society.
I'd rather
But
be
there
in the
is,
raw
but
vegan
there is
society, but
exactly Raw
that's
Vegan
me personally.
Society. I can send you some contacts if you're willing, or I don't know how exactly how this is done, but either people want to have a conversation with me, I'm happy to give a free consult. Um, I'll give that link for a free consult. Maybe
Please.
mention some of the things. Um, I'm gonna go break a rule here. I am so impressed with Jeanette.
Oh, thank you.
Knowledge, consistency, enthusiasm,
Thank you so
walking
much.
the walk, and this year is smack up full. But Jeanette, will you come to next year's Bali retreat and be a presenter?
Oh, whoa. I would love to. Whoa.
Let's talk
I
about
would
that.
love to. Okay, we'll definitely
That'd be
talk
a
about
great
that.
content. Okay.
That's amazing. You're amazing, Doug. I'm so grateful you exist. I'm so grateful to know you. And I finally met you in person and I'm so happy because you're exactly
That
the
went both
same.
ways.
You're exactly the same, and I love that. I love when I meet people and they're the same, you know, and they're the same. And I learned so much at your talks in Michigan. And guys, I'm going to leave Doug's links below. And of course, if you don't have his book, Doug, what's the best way to buy your book? Is it through your website?
At the moment, probably Amazon. I'm working
Okay.
on getting a print on demand thing going, um, so that the US can still have access, because I don't have as much staff in the US as I used to.
Okay, because yeah, 80-10-10, so important. If you don't have it, you need to have it. But contact Doug. I'll leave his links below here on YouTube. His channel's amazing. He's amazing, as you can see. And
The biggest question and answer
yes.
on raw food in the whole wide web is on my website. You can ask all the questions have already been answered.
Wow. Foodandsport.org.
Foodandsport.com.
Dot
.com.
com.
It's a .com. Yeah, foodandsport.com.
Nice.
I'll be in Spain at Raw Nature. I'll be in Bali at Vitality and Paradise. I'll be in Costa Rica offering a supervised fast. I still have one opening
Wow.
left for the supervised fast from January 27th to January 25th to March 7th.
How can
Um,
people inquire about that? Through your website or
yeah, it's all,
email?
all the, just if they go to foodandsport.com, there's information on all of that. And I'll send you my link as soon as we
Please.
hang up. I'll send you my link for free consultation if anybody wants one.
Ooh, thank
A
you so
gift to you.
much.
Sure.
Wow.
Happy to
Tell
do.
Doug you came from Misfit Vegan,
Yeah,
from
of
Misfit
course.
Vegan's channel. Okay, Doug, you're amazing. I'm so, so grateful to you, and we'll do this again
Bless
soon.
your
Thank
heart.
you so
I'm looking
much.
forward to it. Thanks,
Okay,
Janet.
bye, Doug.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
everyone, for watching. We'll see you soon.